You are listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything with the urban sports scene on Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia, Wole, Ray, Glen, and Mo are your hosts. What's good, fellas?
Happening, good people.
What's up, man? Nothing like everything's well, man. All good. All good.
All good, man. Seems like Coach. What's up, Ray G? You good, man?
I'm Gucci, man. Let's
My
do
man.
this.
My man, it seems like Coach Rivera is feeling the pressure. We'll talk about that later. Hey, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and Go everything with the urban sports scene. Also, tweet us at Urban Sports Scene and hit us up on IG at Urban Sports Scene. Hit up Fox Sports Radio on Twitter at 1340 AM Fox Sports. On IG, excuse me, and like our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page and like the Fox Sports Fox Sports Radio 1340 AM Hopewell page as well, Hopewell, Virginia Facebook page as well. Make sure you subscribe to Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM Hopewell, Virginia, and the Urban Sports Scene YouTube channels as well. All right, man, it's time for the pregame. Here, this is what we have on tap. We'll talk about Coach Rivera's comments about Washington being an easy target. All right, Washington Commanders Coach Ron Rivera said during the annual league meeting that Washington is an easy target and he's fed up with it. This is in response to reporters asking why players seemingly don't want to come to Washington and the drama within the team. Ray, do you agree with the dude?
I don't agree that they're an easy target. There's a reason why they're targeted because of the history of the organization and the events that have taken place. And you and I were texting back and forth. I'll bring the fellas in on this. As some of the players, I've had the privilege of talking to former players, Trent Williams being one of them, and he'll tell you about the culture of that organization. I know they made some changes and they're working on it, but still, all we can speak on is the facts, correct? And one aspect of it that will help that I also don't agree with Coach Rivera on, he said we just need to win. No, winning won't cure all of that either because you can still have issues. However, I remember the season where they made the playoffs. They went 7-9, but they didn't have any COVID issues. Chase Young was emerging. The only problem they had was they didn't have a stable quarterback, and the media left them alone. They got Alex Smith back in the lineup, and they started playing well. Media left them alone. They weren't the best team. They were 7-9, but there weren't any sentiments like there is now that the media was picking on them. And also, there wasn't any scandals. There wasn't, who was it? The FBI showing up at the facility to grab an assistant coach. There wasn't stories of, a negative culture coming out. So look, it's something that the organization has brought on themselves, and he's not helping. I do think the quarterback is the most important position on the team, and it hasn't been stable for 30 years. So you need to fix that. That will help a whole lot. That'll be the face of your franchise. You get the right person. And then also, again, just change the culture to where no stories are coming out. You do your part. The players do their part. You won't have any problems. Winning, of course, helps, but I don't think it'll be a cure-all for Dan Snyder in particular.
Mo?
I mean, I think Ray hit the nail on the head. You talk about an easy target. You have scandal. You have sexual assault scandals. You have bad football being played on the football field. You have name change scandals. You have jersey, what does it call it? Jersey debut scandals.
Shantae. We're talking about Shantae.
You know what I mean? You got Sean Taylor jersey retirement scandals. It's so many hot topics that have had this team's name imprinted on it. The former team name, the former team name before that. I mean, it doesn't seem to drama doesn't seem to escape this team no matter what they are called, right? So it leads a lot of people to believe that it starts at the top, right? And a lot of people are calling for his head, but this guy must have them. He's a cat because he has 9 lives. Because no matter what happens, there's nothing forcing him out of that seat. So until there are changes made at the top, until the brass is all on one accord, and you couple that with some winning, I don't think that Ron Rivera is anywhere near just in saying that he's fed up with all of this. I mean, this is brought up on themselves.
Hey, Glenn, thoughts?
I mean, he can be fed up with it, but it's reality, right? Because everything you guys spoke of facts. As a man, he can be fed up with it. The question, the next report, if I was a reporter, okay, Ron, if you fed up, then what are you doing to change it?
Yeah, there you go.
What are you doing to make sure that this the organization from what you can do change, because again, play on the field. Make sure the play on the field, it starts in the locker room, right? When you change the culture in the locker room, it changed the culture everywhere else. When you change the culture as the coaching staff, right? Change the culture everywhere else. You have to win, right? You have to put people in position to be successful. You have to put people in position to make sure that this team is not 7-9 for another year, or 7-10. You have to make sure this team is in the last week of the season has the opportunity to get in the playoffs, and not only get in the playoffs. I think the Washington Washington Commanders, not only do they need to get to the playoffs, they need to win a game in the playoffs, right? They need to be stable at quarterback. As a Washington Commanders fan, if you're a fan, you're hoping Carson Wentz pans out, right? You're hoping the draft is successful. You're hoping that Chase Young comes back and he's better than ever, right? You're hoping that D-line and the issue that we had, that the Commanders had this year, the safety issue is fixed up, is tightened up. You're hoping that the running back game is better. You're hoping that those guys, right? You're hoping back the guys that came back, like the J.D. McKissicks, can become developed. You're looking at guys like Cam Sims, who you signed to a lot of money, right, to sign back, can actually have a breakout year, right, and can be in the conversation. If he wants Washington to stop being a target, he needs to put a product on the field, right? If you ask players, you ask the people in a normal fan, who's the star in Washington? What are they gonna say?
Scary Terry.
A wide receiver who can't throw himself the football.
True. Very true. Yeah.
The Hopewell Commanders. That's the name. We hope. All that hoping. That was hilarious. That was a straight up Pastor Rand right there.
No, he's right though. But he's right. So this is the thing. Like, so
Bishop
we
Glen.
talk about winning. To me, winning kills it. In sports, winning kills everything. There's so many controversies in life in sports that people have glossed over because of wins. Like, we all can say, like, well, we say it's historic. It's all over sports. If you win, people tend to neglect and forget.
Or talent.
Yes, that too.
Deshaun Watson got paid more than anybody else.
Okay, so I was going to mention that. So that's what I'm saying. And regardless of what you believe about Deshaun Watson, regardless of where you are with that, if he throws 30 touchdowns and leads the Browns to the Super Bowl, it don't matter. Like, what happened won't even matter anymore. And it's sad to say it, but it's the truth. Depending on where you are in that argument, it won't matter anymore. The Dallas, I used this as a reference before. The Dallas Cowboys had one of the worst things that could happen in that era of time in terms of what they were doing with winning Super Bowls. The White House. What was going on in the White House? What they were winning though, they were winning multiple Super Bowls. That got glossed over. You win, and people will neglect. They will neglect certain things. You will not be the laughing stock. But it goes back to it's your where you are now, and what you're producing and what you're producing on the field as the coach, you're adding on to it. So it's up to Coach Rivera. You shouldn't be fed up because you're part of the problem too. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to build on something. You have to bring out a better product for people to stop mentioning this, or people for free agents to say, you know what, I don't want to come to Washington. You have to develop a product, develop a team and a product on the field where entices, if the conversation is free agents not coming to DC, that entices the free agents to want to play for you. You know what I'm saying? Like what's going on with, obviously, yes, you're going to have to fix that up too in terms of PR or whatnot. But in terms of winning football games, what you can control or what you can try to control is bringing a product on a football field that is now respectable for other free agents, for your players to win football games. All of that involved, you have the control because it's coach-centric. Like the Washington Commanders are coach-centric. Like he has control. He has a lot of control. So he has the opportunity to build a winner. For the last two seasons, regardless of what people want to use excuses, is 7-9 and 7-10. So if I'm a Washington fan, if I'm a football player, a free agent, I'm looking at this situation like it ain't up and coming. So why do I need to go there? You're not giving me the bag either. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not giving me the high bag like this. So you're not bringing anything enticing for me when to come here.
I'm not even you enticing me. I'm not even playing in front of nobody. If you go to the stadium,
that's what I'm saying. That too.
I'm not playing,
but again,
I'm not playing in front of anybody.
You're not giving me that too. You're not bringing a product. You're not giving me a winning product for fans to even want to show up. You know what I'm saying? Like Mo harps on it, but there's truth to it. Like 7-9 in a week, and winning division, a weak NFC East division, right? You win a division. And you follow that up with the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and you fell like you're third place in the division. So like you didn't even bring a product that to have fans, to entice fans to come to the games, to get players hyped, to seek for opposing players. You know, they watch it, they see it. Opposing players, if they're free agents, they're like, if I come here, they ain't lit over here. They're not lit at home. They're not gonna get me amped up to play there. You know what I'm saying? So it's so much. You got to build as a coach. You already have 2 years in. You got to build that on-field thing. You got to build that. You build that first. That's your focus.
He seems inauthentic, Ron Rivera, I'm talking about, because I want to say late in the season or maybe mid-season, he talked to some level about how hard it is to turn around a culture. You said this is much harder than what I expected. And now you're saying it's unfair the way the team's being treated. You just identified during the season that the culture is what it is.
Yeah.
Which many can describe it as toxic, negative, whatever. But now you're saying, oh, it's unfair. They're picking us. No, it's because of what you identified as a problem already. So he's struggling to realize how to fix it. And he needs help. They always talk about bringing in PR firms, bringing in outside resources to help. Yeah, that can help as well. But
they ain't gonna do
if you're not being transparent, and like you said, if you're not addressing all of these issues the right way, and the NFL seems to be covering for Dan too, which is crazy. So I don't know what it's going to take in order for change. Many just feel like Dan needs to go. But, I mean, it's so bad that we can't even settle on a location for the team. Many of the fans don't want PG County to be the host no more. And that's what the stadium is. And the stadium is going to be there for what? At least, 6 more years or 5 more years?
Something like that.
That's a problem. You got Northern Virginia being the most viable candidate that I can see, even more than the district. There's nothing short of controversy around every topic that this team comes out. The uniforms, the names, we don't like the helmets. Something looks small, and I'm like, man, the numbers on the jerseys, it's nothing that is just consensus. Like we love this, except for the hires, Jason Wright, and you hired Jennifer King. You made those hires. That was dope.
Yeah,
but again, it goes back to if this team wins, everybody will want the stadium, right? Because what happens, you're looking at the revenue, you're looking at the finances, right? Right now, nobody wants the stadium because when you go there, unless they play in the Cowboys or another team or Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, that stadium is not packed with Washington Commander fans. It's packed with the other team fans when you walk into the stadium.
All the time,
and
anyway.
then when you see them on TV, the lower level, it's one thing when your upper levels are empty, but when you see the lower levels empty, right, it's like, man, that means nobody wants to be here, right? And I mean, first game of the season is pump packed sometimes, but when you get midway to the season and they're not winning, that bad boy is empty. But also at this point, you talk about Dan Snyder. Snyder's not going anywhere. Let's stop using him for an excuse, right? Because he doesn't play football. He doesn't play football. He puts people in place. He hires people to put a good product on the field.
They're not doing it.
And he doesn't play the game, right? Now, has he made some bad hires? Good. But can we be honest? His name really hasn't been thrown into many of the controversies that he did anything illegal himself. It's been the people around him, per se. So now he's got a bad judgment of character. As the owner, yes, you're responsible at the end of the day. Right? At the end of the day, it's your team. You're the owner. So at the end of the day, you're responsible for the Ron Rivera hire. You're responsible for the Jason Wright. You're responsible for all these other hires.
Bruce Allen. You're responsible for Bruce Allen.
Bruce Allen. Larry Michaels, all these guys that end up resigning, all this, you're responsible for that, yes. So now what he needs to be doing in the PR firm, whatever, is let's fix it, put a good product on the field. Now, Carson Wentz could be the savior. I believe if Carson Wentz could have a decent season this year, a lot of the problems that we're talking about today and in March will go away with this Washington Commander team. They start out 4-0, start at 5-0. All right, they're in a position to be a playoff team. You'll see a lot of this stuff, and you'll see Ron Rivera, who goes with the flows, in my opinion, right? His conversation changes.
All the time.
His conversation changes based off of how the team is maneuvering. He's building excuses.
Hey, Mo, you next.
I think that Ron himself being fed up, I think holds some weight, some merit there, because he came into a situation that was already jacked up. Right. And him being a hire was supposed to be one of the fixes, a minority hire for this franchise that was going through some of those issues of not having, what would we say, a diverse staff, right? Then Barry came after him, and then the lady's name I'm losing. Ray, you said earlier.
Jennifer King,
right? Those hires. So if for Ron's credit, since he's come and he's taken over, a lot of things have been in a positive direction. So for him to say that he feels that it's unfair, I could understand that. But it's so much mess above his pay grade that ultimately he has to take responsibility for as a head coach of a team that is unjust sometimes. And like Glenn just said, it may not be Dan Snyder himself, but the people above Ron himself it just ain't been good, right? It just ain't been good. Ron is responsible for the football field.
But a lot of them dudes are his guys, though.
Ron is responsible for the football field, right? Yeah. And he's gotten a playoff berth out of that, and he's gotten a season without a playoff berth. So in 2 years, in 2 seasons as the coach, he's done something good. He's gotten the playoff berth, which was it was celebrated highly in this area, right?
Yeah, so, but except like you mentioned before, we said it before, like it's 7-9 on a bad squad. I
understand, but somebody has to win, right? And he was the one that win. That won. I was listening to a LeBron James argument the other day. It was like, I'm like, dude, but he has to do it. He's in year 19 and he's still doing it. If everybody could do it, they would do it.
Yeah.
If everybody could do it, they would do it. Like Ron, he did get to the playoffs. He did play the Tampa Bay Bucks tough as the coach. He came back with a lackluster year. So for him to say that he feels like he's fed up and it's unfair based on the job that he has done, I cannot be completely mad at him. Right. I will say that the decision-making around him and above him are basically have the man handcuffed with one hand behind his back a little bit, if you ask me. Mm-hmm. So I give him a little bit of credit there, but like you guys said, it's going to take winning, but most importantly, like me and Ray said 2 years ago, consistent winning to wash this away.
I agree. Consistent, that's the point. Not here.
And Wole, you talked about the sustained success, and it was affirmed again today when Jim Harbaugh, at least at the time of our taping, I'm sorry, John, right? My bad, got the name wrong. John Harbaugh got an extension because they like the culture that he's created. Yeah. Now, did the Ravens have a losing season last year for many different reasons? Yeah, but you know the culture is what it is. That's when I talk about sustained success. When you make good decisions, you keep the same people and you continue to build. So that's what I want to see this organization do. But I got a question real quick for Bishop Thomas, and I promise you I'm done. Listen, you said that Snyder wasn't responsible. But like, what other organization do you hear, even the radio announcement, we going to we're not going to renew an Odyssey. Odyssey came out first, like we done. We want to be able to say what we want without catching backlash from the owner, which it is different, but
that's not like
for years
he's petty though. He's petty though.
But he owned Reds. I'm just talking about in terms of Ron Rivera. Of course, you're going to continue to get negative press when even that small stuff.
Jerry do stupid stuff. But Jerry do stupid stuff in Dallas all the time.
But Jerry fan base supports him though.
And they win, bro. And they win too, bro.
It goes back to Robert Kraft, right? Robert Kraft.
I think Snyder got happy plays a role.
Look at Robert Kraft, who got a happy ending down in Florida, right?
Bro, we can't be, right? I feel like it's easy. No, I mean Snyder's trash. I don't want everybody to think he's trash, but like there's so many bad ones out there.
Yeah, there's so many bad owners, right? Everybody talking about Snyder, but we forgot about Robert Kraft because they won a Super Bowl.
We forgot about Robert Kraft. That's just one story. Well, that's not.
Look at the story now. All right, the Cowboys. I'm using the Cowboys. Look at the Cowboys situation with the cheerleaders. Have you heard it? Like,
of course.
How many times has that been on TV? Like seriously, like you know what I mean? Like there's always a narrative. We talk about this, right? We talk about all behind the scenes. There's always a narrative that people want to push out there. It's a narrative, and you choose what you want. You choose what you want to discuss at what levels of whatever.
Right. So why do free agents want to still go to Dallas? Because it's a good place to play football.
It's a consistent.
They don't win either. They don't even go to playoffs all the time.
But
they don't go to Super Bowl.
It's more consistent winning. It's more consistent winning than Washington.
Taxes, baby. Taxes, baby.
Taxes too. But more of a. Yeah, that's true. Taxes. Yeah. That's factual. That's very factual, actually. And all Dallas, all Texas sports. Real talk.
And then also they're the highest
Cowboys,
grossing football
So
team.
it's
So
not
they're gonna get a lot
apples. It's not
more
apples to apples then. So
And they
that's
pay
what
more.
I'm
And
saying.
Jerry,
But you're saying winning.
and
You saying winning.
And Jerry does. If you look at of recent,
Jerry gets a lot of criticism though.
no, that's but not like this. Not
At
like
least Jerry talks though. At least
but
Jerry
I
comes
get
out.
but
You
not
know
like
who
this,
Jerry
Ray.
is.
But
Jerry's
not
on
like
the
this. But not like
sideline.
this. And
But
Jerry, in real talk, if Tahai gets some of these players too, Jerry is still funneling money. Like he'll still he'll give you a bag.
Right.
Like Snyder stopped, but after Shanahan, they stopped trying to give out bags like they used to. Jerry giving out bags. Jerry's still giving out bags. Like that is a reason too, right? Snyder, they've been doing this cheap bargain thing if you would look at it, they've been the Washington Commanders, whatever, Redskins, whatever you want to call them. They've been doing the cheap things since Shanahan came to town, and they've continued that model. Like every once in a while they give Josh Norman, but they don't go ham like they trying to win the all season. They don't do that anymore. Okay. Jerry tries to still win. Like Jerry will go after whoever. We've seen that. That's Jerry. He'll do it. So it's a different model too in terms of free agency. It's a different model.
And a different model of owners too, because when Snyder was trying to be like Jerry, all in the forefront and on the full front, fans were like, "Oh, he need to go away. He need to go away." And now he's gone away. Y'all be like, "We don't see Snyder anymore." So which one you want? You want him in the forefront or you want him in the background?
He ain't cool like Jerry, so he shouldn't be in the forefront.
He's not cool like Jerry.
I'm just gonna keep his butt. He ain't cool like Jerry. Let me keep him 100. Like he shouldn't be in the forefront.
He's the common denominator as the lack of success since he's taken over. That's how I
agree.
All the coaches, all the players, all the general managers, you don't went through everybody. The Vinny Serratos, Bruce Allen's.
He's a common denominator.
He's and you ask people like John Riggins, Jason Reed, they will tell you. So I still think it starts with him, even though you're right. He has tried to make some adjustments, but it's impacting his coach, man. I think it unfortunately it falls on him.
I don't think. See, this is the thing. This coach is different from any other coaches, though. Like this coach, to me, and this is not hate. It is. He got more power than some of these coaches have had. Like he is coach centric, and the people that he brought that are in office ahead of his pay grade are Carolina people. Like that's the thing that even gets me. Like
true.
These are Carolina people.
That's just this year, Wole.
But look who you comparing them to. Okay, Shanahan had control.
Let me tell the people. Y'all are listening to All Burgundy and Gold Errrything on Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM, 13 a.m. Hopewell, Virginia. We're over here talking Washington Commanders. Head coach Ron Rivera just said at the annual league meeting. Carry on, Wole.
No, so what I'm saying is that like he has they changed the whole thing for him. He made the decision of who to bring in when he got hired. Like that's why Snyder came in and said co-centric, because one, Snyder couldn't even make those decisions anymore because truth be told, the scandals are real. Like it's bad PR. So they didn't trust him with making certain decisions. And they want him in the forefront. So he has co-centric is real. Like this dude is making these decisions. Like there is a reason why Carolina people are coming. Like there's a reason why Kyle Allen was traded for a 5th round pick. That wasn't from higher up. That was from Ron Rivera. Like there are decisions that are being made by him. You know what I'm saying? By him for this organization that affects the football field.
Okay, but why is he the first coach to get it? Because Snyder finally learned when we thought Shanahan had control, but he was forced to draft Robert Griffin. You had what's his name? Gruden. Did he want Robert Griffin as quarterback? No, he didn't.
No,
but of course, the owner did. Portis was force-fed down Zorn's throat. Like Snyder finally learned, okay, I got to take my hands off. And now Rivera is screwing up, but it's the first because finally Dan Snyder's giving somebody that opportunity. So he's the first one. He's the guinea pig.
And it's terrible. I'm saying, and the only reason he's getting this is because of the bad PR.
I'm about to say the same thing. The only reason to get it because of bad PR. Because think about it.
So at that point, is it really? That's why hearing the word coach centric, it just seems to me that he wants another scapegoat, right? It seems to me that he's just trying to pile it on Ron because technically he can't be in the forefront, but we know he's still making these decisions in the background.
He's not making not the personnel decisions.
He's communicating to somebody. He's
signing checks. He's signing checks.
You're absolutely right about the people that Ron has brought in, but it's only been 1 year. Well, you can't jump on what they've done
like
in one season.
This
draft is pivotal because they messed up with Jamin Davis last year. This
that's
draft
wrong.
is
Again,
pivotal. This draft is pivotal. This
Yeah.
offseason, they haven't been big players outside of the Carson Wentz trade. So this draft is super pivotal to see where this team is going to go, to see if they're closer to that sustained success that we've been talking about, or if Ron Rivera is going to be out of town by January.
We probably won't because PR.
I remember it comes back to Wole. It comes back to arrogance. And if you saw Malik Willis's pro day, who was there from Washington? It was Marty Hurney. If you let him make more of the decisions along with Martin Mayhew, I think we'll see a much improved draft. But if it's Ron all over, his handprints all over this draft, then you're gonna have similar results. Although I'm not down on Jamin yet. I just think he wasn't put in the best position to succeed.
I'm talking about last year.
Absolutely.
No.
And plus, and in my opinion, they should have traded up and got Michael Parsons. I forget that.
I would have done it.
Knows that. Yeah, I said that. Yeah.
And I heard you talking.
And you could have got Jamin, or you could have tried to get Jamin in the second round rather than get him in the first round. But that's a whole different. Again, that's a thing.
Heard you talk about Mayhew next to Malik Willis. He need to go stand next to another.
No, it was Hurney. It was Hurney. It was Hurney.
Whoever it was.
I'm not saying Malik Willis is the one. I'm just saying that
if you another quarterback, that's not the one.
I didn't say it was, but I'm saying who was represented was Hurney. It wasn't Rivera, because it was like Matt. I think Matt Rule was there in person. Like he was one of the only coaches that showed up. The fact that Rivera wasn't there, to me, is a slightly encouraging sign.
He's chatting real hard with Olave right now.
I like Corral. I've said that from Jump Street. I like Corral. I think second round he would be dope, man.
Second round. Okay, second round.
Yeah, he's not a first rounder. He's not a first rounder.
I think he's talking about first round. I'll say, Ray, hold on now, Ray. Don't mess up
Glenn, what you saying?
Yeah, you have to be able to get. I think you need the receiver in the first round. You get a quarterback in the second, right? You have to give somebody. You have to give Carson Wentz some confidence.
Best receiver draft in a long time, too.
You have to get if the receiver's on the board in the first round, Washington has to grab a receiver.
If you want a receiver, though, Glenn, you got to move back. There. You got to move back. You can't give him a receiver at 11.
It's deep. Got a lot of 11.
Not for this team. Not this team. Don't draft the receiver at 11. Move back a couple of picks. Get a couple of more picks.
I heard it's going to be O lineman, man, if they keep that pick.
So I'm telling you, like, do not draft the receiver at
11. Terry McLaurin needs some help. If you ain't gonna get, if you're not gonna get a receiver,
so much help though, Glenn.
But if you're not gonna get a receiver at 11, then you need to go pick up Julio Jones in free agency, right?
What I'm saying is that, no, I'm not saying don't get a receiver, Glenn. What I'm saying is don't get a receiver at 11. I'm saying trade back and get a receiver.
Not with this training staff.
I'm sorry.
They just got hot tubs, Glenn. Don't bring them, man. Don't bring them hamstrings here, man.
Don't bring them hamstrings here, man.
You know what? I just thought about that. You said there. Not with this training staff. You're right. Not with this.
If you want an older receiver, go get AJ Green.
Is he a free agent?
Older receiver.
Is he a free agent?
That's the one to go get, because he gonna
run around. we all love AJ Green.
Is he a free agent?
Yeah. He's on the market.
I like AJ.
Now, see, he's leaning towards San Fran. I just read that yesterday. So San Fran or Washington, Kyle Shanahan or
exactly. That's what
we know where you're gonna end up at.
You
end up in San Francisco.
You don't have the okay. No. You said it wrong. Not Ron Rivera. It's not. You gotta say it right? It's Kyle Shanahan or Scott Turner. Scott Turner. That's how you do it.
I thought we were gonna get away with an episode without mentioning Scott Turner. I really thought we was gonna get out of this episode without mentioning Scott Turner's name.
Now we should have cut it. We got to cut it 10 minutes ago if we're gonna do that.
I'm just saying.
I never mentioned Scott Turner.
Ray set me up, man. Ray set me up.
Well, no. I didn't set you up. You had plenty of opportunities with you saying Ron was making decisions with Carolina guys, and it never came up. So I thought we were smooth sailing, but it clearly that wasn't the case.
Man, it's time to shut this show down, man. But this has been dope. Hey, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Search All Burgundy, go Errrything with Urban Sports Team. Also tweet us at Urban Sports Team and hit us up on IG at Urban Sports, and hit up Fox Sports on IG at 1340 AM Fox Sports. Also, like our Urban Sports Team Facebook page and like the Fox Sports Facebook page as well. Make sure you subscribe to the Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM /1340 AM Hopewell, Virginia, and Urban Sports Team YouTube channels as well. All right, man, it's been dope. Appreciate anybody. Anybody got anything else to say before we end this show? No? Yes?
Take command of your franchise, brother.
Take command. Like what you did right there, right? Anyway, you've been listening to All Burgundy Go Errrything with the Urban Sports Team on Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia for ages. Yiddy, deuces. Hey, Mega, lead us out, big homie.
Swag.